Hi, I'm Fiona, and this is All Poppies, where women come to take their lives to full bloom. Today, in this episode, we are going to be talking about relationships. And specifically, there's a concept that I want to share with you, which I developed. It's an original Fifi concept, and I've employed it in my own life, and subsequently, many girlfriends have adopted it because have found it very helpful in their lives as well. And I call this the first trimester rule. It's fairly straightforward. And it is simply this. In the same way that when a woman first becomes pregnant, doctors will typically advise not to share that news until the woman has got through that first trimester and we are confident that all is well. I also recommend that when you are in the first 3 months of a new, burgeoning, blossoming romantic relationship, that you keep it a secret, that you protect it from the interest and curiosity and commentary of other people. And this is not because in the event that it sort of doesn't pan out, that you don't want to share that grief with people. Rather, it's because interesting things can happen in these early stages. And in these early stages, when a relationship is new, it's kind of like a little teeny sapling. And it's very young and it's very fragile and it's not yet found its footing, it's not yet rooted and strong. And so, just like a little teeny seedling, it is subject to be easily overwatered or easily underwatered. And it's similar with relationships. In those early stages, when we can feel really excited about the prospect of someone new and our imaginations can run away with us and we can start thinking about how this could grow to be and who that person is, and we're filling in all the knowledge gaps with our ideal of who they are. It's very easy to let that sort of nervousness or those questions or that uncertainty that we have in our own mind as we're discovering someone and things are unfolding, it's very easy to be susceptible to others' commentary. There's a hypersensitivity in this phase. And if not protected, other people's comments can end up negatively impacting the natural trajectory of a blossoming of a new relationship. And this can happen in very innocuous ways. For example, someone might say, "Oh, how are things getting on with that guy you met last week at the event? The one who got your number, have you gone on a date with him? How's it going?" And you might say anything very neutral that you might be happy about. So, for example, you might say, "Oh, I think it's going quite well. I'm quite excited about this one. Yeah, I'm feeling good." And they might ask a question such as, "That's great. And so how often have you been seeing him?" "Oh, well, we've been seeing each other about once a week." And that person could respond in any which way. For example, they could say, "Oh, really? Only once a week at this early stage? I mean, I think it's important to have more momentum. I mean, do you think there's really something there? Maybe there's not a real interest. Maybe he's seeing someone else." And then it starts to sow seeds of doubt in your mind about sort of the intentions or how things are progressing. Equally, someone could say something in the other direction and say, "Wow, once a week, like that's quite a lot. I mean, don't you want to sort of like keep him mean, keep him keen? You don't want him to get too comfortable too quickly. You might want to put the brakes on that one." And so, people will view the world through their own lens, and they will project their own experiences and their own frameworks onto you and your experience. And in these early stages, that's oftentimes not helpful. And sometimes people will make these comments without any thought. They might seem perfectly innocuous to them. They might not consider them at all to be sensitive. And other times, there might be, some cynics might say, a subconscious desire from one's friends, if they are not themselves in relationships and wanting to be, to keep you single. to keep to they might not like the idea and the possibility of you disappearing to Partner Island and leaving them swimming in single sea. And so they might want to actually, sow the seeds of doubt and sort of keep you where you are with them in company. And I think that's a bit of a cynical perspective. I personally prefer to think that we women can support each other and be happy for one another when we achieve our life dreams. But perhaps sometimes this can happen subconsciously. Perhaps sometimes people might have a fear of their own singledom, and thus want to keep their other single friends with them. And other times, I think honestly, you can just the comments can be consciously discouraging, but come from a good place. They might come from friends or family who love us dearly and are just wanting to protect us and are wanting to make sure that we don't, run down the path towards heartache. And they're just wanting us to sort of be happy. And so it can come from a good place. But still, with the good intentions, it might not necessarily land in a productive way. So what I suggest is when you're in these early stages and the butterflies are floating around and you're feeling optimistic, but still uncertain about where this might go, if someone inquires, simply very kindly say, if it's okay, I might apply the first trimester rule on this one. I'm just going to keep it to myself for the first few months. And you say it with a smile, and it's very kind. It doesn't need to be abrasive. And typically what I find in that scenario is people might be surprised to hear that, but they'll respect it. And then when it comes to their turn, they'll end up adopting it for themselves because they too see the value. So this is it. Very simple, the first trimester rule. It's also a good one to apply to new burgeoning businesses if you're ever starting your own business or a side hustle. It's a Sarah Blakely rule. She did it actually for a full year when she was starting Spanx. She kept it completely under wraps, knew that she didn't want to tell her parents or her friends because she figured they'd think she was absolutely mad, and they would try and do everything to discourage her out of sheer love and protection of her. And so she knew she had a gut feeling about it and wanted to protect it, and so kept that under wraps for a whole year. I don't think you need to keep things under wraps for a whole year with a new relationship. And if you are, that might actually be something worth digging into. There might be something spurious there to investigate. But 3 months, 1 trimester's worth, I think is generally a good rule of thumb. So I invite you to apply that the next time you find yourself in those early stages, or to share this with a friend who you think also might benefit from it. That's it for today. See you next time.